Okay, well, it's still Saturday, the 13th of July, 2019. It's about 1900 hours. And I've made one video, and this is now my second video on YouTube for the time being. I'm looking at putting video onto my own website. So in the event that YouTube doesn't like what I've got to say, then at least I can still present it on my own website. Which, by the way, I'm hosting myself. But I need to, I've looked at my own first video a few times now. And I noticed that I've used the word the right to dissent, which I find an unsubstantiated philosophical and political point of view. Do we indeed have the right to dissent? Is it enshrined in UK law? Is it enshrined in the human condition that each person has the right to dissent? That's something that I need to look into. You could probably do a university course on the whole issue of dissent. There's many issues concerning it. But the worst case scenario is that there is no right to dissent. That's the worst case scenario. It is illegal to dissent, which I don't think we've got to that position yet. But it would seem to be moving in that direction. But we're not there yet, thanks be to God. So the issue is that needs looking at as a subject of study. That in the Western world, certainly in the United Kingdom, America, Europe, Australasia, all these kind of places, Canada, do we have the right to dissent? Is it enshrined in law? Certainly you look back at the history, the political history of the UK, there have always been dissenters. In fact, you could argue there's always been dissenters in any country, in any time. There are disagreements. And unfortunately, the vast history of the human race is we've settled our differences via bloodshed because the emotions run that high. And that is then part of the problem. That is then a philosophical issue, which is distinct from the whole issue of dissent in the first place. And now that comes into, a philosophical point of view about the human condition itself. We tend to sort out our differences by violence. And that is then a different philosophical point of view. And I think I'm going to have to do another video which is going to make my philosophical foundations extremely clear as to where I'm coming from, I think, in this whole dissent issue, which has really got me. I keep coming back to the man who calls himself Tommy Robinson. Even if I disagree with every single word, every single action that Mr. Tommy Robinson has done, I still say he has the right to hold his opinion. Which is more, I'm prepared to give that man at least that, even if I disagree with him. He is entitled to hold his opinion. And that is what has got me about the whole debacle concerning Mr. Robinson. Is that it seems that it's taken for granted that his opinions are just not only wrong, but unacceptable. And who decides that? Who has the authority to make that kind of judgment concerning another man's point of view? Now, you can be cynical about Robinson. He's only doing it for the money. He couldn't care less. He's a troublemaker. He's a criminal. Blah, 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 blah. So what? Everybody's the same. We all want to make a quid. And if you can make a quid by expressing yourself, then hallelujah. He's working for a living. You can't criticise anybody on trying to make some money. We're all whores. We're all trying to make a quid. We've all got to sell ourselves one way or the other. Well, I keep coming back to this whole issue of Tommy Robinson and his entitlement to hold his opinion. That's my position, even if I say, well, disagree with the man. I disagree with every single word. Every single book he's ever written. Disagree with a lot. But he's got the right to hold it. That's what's got me. There seems to be some kind of consensus out there that Robinson, or Yaxley Lennon, whatever you want to call him, has not the right to hold his opinion. That's what I'm arguing against. And I don't want to be tarred with the same brush. I think for myself. At the end of the day, I think for myself. You know, I don't like somebody laying their opinions on me. If I think Robinson's wrong, I'll come out and say so. But I would still say Robinson is entitled. I can attack his beliefs. If I want to attack his beliefs, I attack his beliefs. I would say he was wrong in what he did outside of Leeds. Now, the alt-right won't like that. Certainly, Yaxley Lennon's supporters won't like me saying that. But that's what I truly believe. I think he'd gone too far. He should have known what the potential consequences of doing what he did outside of Leeds Crown Court at the time. He shouldn't have done that. He should have stayed right away from that. He should have stayed away from paedophile cases, and he should have continued what he was doing before, which was a full frontal attack on Islam. And he was doing well at that. He should have stayed there. That was my position, and I supported him. And now I did agree with him on that. The right to criticise Islam and bring out the less palatable side of Islam. I believe he had the right to do that. Now, some people might say, well, he may have been right about that, but it was the way that he did it. And maybe his presentation leaves a lot to be desired. There are other speakers out there who don't get themselves into anything like the amount of trouble that Yaxley Lennon's got himself into, and yet still criticise Islam. They are not in prison, and they have not attracted the wrath of the authorities. If Yaxley Lennon, or maybe you should call him Stephen, if Stephen or Tommy, whatever we call him, if he really believes in what he's on about, if he was really concerned about the future of this country and, what was going to happen to his children as a result of this, Islamification of the UK, if he was really concerned about that, then I think he should have used a different tack. I'm now adding my voice to the fray. I'm coming in and adding my voice to the fray. Maybe I should have spoke out earlier, I've suddenly come to the position I need to speak. I need to add my 5 pence worth to the debate. There are a lot of places I can't talk about this in church. I can't talk about this at work. I can't talk about this down the pub. And yet this is what I think about, or some of the things that I think about. And, Tommy Robinson's fate concerns me. It concerns me. Now, okay, he broke the law. He was found guilty. A British court found him guilty of contempt. I've been looking into the rule of law. I've been looking into the contempt laws. And it would seem that he was in contempt. Now, not even Ezra, what's his name, from the rebel media. Ezra does not even properly address the arguments about the contempt laws. The contempt laws existed before Robinson was even thought of. The contempt laws were not just dreamed up just because the authorities wanted to put Robinson away. The contempt laws have been around a long time, and they're not just specific to the UK, they are all over the place. Lots of countries have contempt laws to protect, actually, due process and the rule of law. Justice be done. Not only must it be done, it must be seen to be done. And I know Robinson does not accept that he was guilty of contempt. But other views, certainly the view of the court, I mean, obviously, all of Robinson's supporters would say that the court was biased. Maybe it was. Who knows? But there we go. He got sent down. He should have stuck to where he was. I'll never forget, I saw a video on YouTube of Mr. Tommy Robinson in Birmingham holding up a copy of the Hadith. He was speaking against Islam. He was speaking out against some of the things that he'd found in the Hadith. And he held up a copy of the Hadith where he quoted from in his speech. And all the crowd are saying, burn it, Tommy, burn it, Tommy. But to his eternal credit, he said, no. He said, no, I'm not going to burn this. I'm suggesting that you read it too, so you can understand what's going on with these people. Now, that's the Tommy Robinson I liked and enjoyed. That is the Tommy Robinson that I was prepared to travel all the way down to London to see him speak. But the Tommy Robinson who's skating on thin ice around Crown Courts, no. So, but the right to dissent, there has to be alternate views. Any kind of student in this country, if you've done any kind of study, there's always multiple points of view on any subject. Multiple points of view. Even in nuclear physics, is it particles, is it waves, or is it particles? Do you know what I mean? There's different points of view, different ways of looking at things. And I would say the more points of view that you have on a subject, the better. And then you work through them all, and then you come to, you pay your money and you make your choice. And that's, have a look at the alt-right, have a look at the left, have a look at the centre ground, and so on and so forth. Look at all points of view. To dismiss Yaxley Lennon out of hand without even hearing the man is wrong. And then if you want to show that that Yaxley Lennon is wrong, then do this by argument, not by vilification. That's what he was trying to show up. He turned up at countless demonstrations with a microphone trying to talk to people from the left. And the left just they wouldn't even engage in argument with him. They just vilified him. Oh, you're all right, man. You're scum. You're a fascist scumbag. That was the level of the argument. They didn't respond to any of his points. They just labelled him as a fascist scumbag. What kind of discussion is that? What kind of debate is that? It's wrong. You're not going to arrive at any kind of conclusion with that kind of thing. Well, we've all got strong opinions. We've all got strong feelings about these things. But surely we need to curtail these strong feelings that we have. And somehow, that's another subject for another day, how to contain, to control the strong feelings, the need almost, the desire, certainly desire, if not a need, to vilify, to put down somebody with an opposing point of view. Like, kill them. We hate them. Oh no, something needs to be sorted here. My viewpoint, I've not been listened to for a long time. And I got to the point where I've had enough of this. The right to dissent is certainly, you can't deal with this in a 15, 20-minute video. One has to do some serious research on the role of dissent in politics, in religion, in science, opposing points of view, in history, in literature, lots of different points of view. And surely, with regards to the left wing and the right wing, just with some people, it seems to be taken for granted, it's all right, so therefore it's rubbish. And then everybody just goes off into the different corners. Something that I don't. Well, I've got a solution, but that's for another video. I'm just trying to deal with this at the moment. And I need to look into this more. And if anybody's got any comments about this, if anybody, this is actually getting watched by anybody, then, you know, I think we need to discuss how these things, how we can move forward with these things, rather than just vilification. Ah, you fascist scumbag. You know, that is not an argument. That is not an argument. If the right wing are so bad, then come out with some better arguments than fascist scumbag. That is not. I've been left wing for most of my life. What? Yeah, that is. If the right are that wrong, then bring some argument, bring some statistics, bring some facts, bring some evidence, even. Not name calling. That's my position. If I'm going to get my head kicked in, I'm going to get my head kicked in. What do I care? I've got to the point where we need productive, constructive discussion of these matters, which means the ability to speak to people with different, or just to be in the company of people with a different point of view. I think that's really what needs to be done. But some kind of thing. I am fed up of the right wing, the alt-right, as if the alt-right stands for everything that is absolutely disgusting in human society. You know, the alt-right is being portrayed in such a way that I think is wrong. I'm still finding my way with this video blog business, so bear with me. Any feedback I welcome. And I've got to go away now and do some research on dissent. Is there a right to dissent? And even if there isn't a right to dissent, what role does dissent play? Which I think I started talking about in my first video. The role of dissent and the importance of alternate viewpoints to arrive at truth, to save lives, to save money. I mean, these are important issues. So there we go. Welcome to my video blog. Thanks for watching.